Okay, this section contains the feedback given to me during the micro-teaching session. So this was covered in the previous section. Now basically what happened is I gave a presentation and then I handed out these feedback sheets, and these are scanned in. These are what the members of my cohort said in response to my questioning. So if you click on these, if you open them up, you can scroll down and have a look at the questions that I asked. So the first question was, well, I was not trying in the micro-teaching session to teach them a new piece of knowledge, a new piece of mathematics. What I was trying to do was to give them an appreciation of some of the concepts behind something like infinity or integration. So I'm trying to ask whether or not they feel they have an appreciation, even if they don't have a thorough understanding, and there were some quite nice comments came out from that. The second question, well, at the time I was very interested in whether non-mathematicians need to know the behind the scenes of the mathematics, need to know the proofs, need to know why things are the way they are, or whether they just need to be given a mathematical toolbox. And I was sort of the opinion that it's perhaps less useful for a forensic science student to be able to prove the mathematics behind logarithms rather than just be able to apply them. This is something that was covered in the essay after I was observed by a peer in the Module 1 assignment. I wrote an essay on one of the aspects of this was whether the students need to know sort of the deep concepts, and basically what I conclude is yes, they do. For deep learning, they really need to have more of an understanding. If they just have a superficial understanding, they're in a poor position to be able to retain that knowledge, etc. But at the time of writing, I was still exploring this issue, and I was kind of leaning the other way, because I was teaching, or trying to teach, the methods behind integration and differentiation, trying to show a bit of a derivation of those concepts and so forth, and the students were not responding well to it, and I got to thinking, well, do they really need to know this? And so at the time I put this question in, do you think it's necessary for non-mathematics students to have an understanding of the deep concepts behind integration, or is it just a technique they need to know when to use it, how to apply it? I get a mixture of answers to this. I think there's sort of an understanding but not a requirement. It shouldn't be a requirement that they do it, and I think that's very insightful, because that's often how it's taught. You often go through the proof, but you don't ask them to reproduce the proof necessarily. It's best understood and applied if understood. One person put, understanding is deepened. These are all good comments. So this is good to see. The next question, right, I was interested, as a result of the second observation that I wrote about for the Module 1 assignment, in which I observed a skilled lecturer teach. That lecturer asked me, should he have delivered his slides, should he have delivered his content through pre-prepared slides, or was it better to do it on the board live, chalk and talk? So I was quite interested in that, and that interest led me to interactive whiteboards, which is the technology that I tried out during the micro-teaching session, because I found out it was going to be in a room that had an interactive whiteboard, and I hadn't really had an opportunity to try one out, so I gave it a bit of a go. So I want to know, were the PowerPoint slides effective? Generally, yes. Some fairly positive comments from this. Good for helping you prepare the session, good for pacing, etc. But quite a lot of people liked the fact that I could write on them as well. Most seem to find it fun and exciting, and I'm interested in whether there's a novelty effect there. One member of the cohort came back and said they found it confusing, me writing on the board as well as there being PowerPoints there. So that's interesting. That was the feedback from the micro-teaching, which helped me develop those concepts, I think.